So we'll kick this off, Kirsten, with you as the practitioner here, as the person who is having a line at your door when you come out to conferences like this, people saying, hey, I'm really interested in getting a meeting with you. And I know Anup is a big proponent of just how can the security industry improve? How can we do better? So when you're looking at products and technology, when you're trying to tell sort of the hocus pocus marketing stuff from something that's really going to work on your network, talk to us about that. How do you sort of make those determinations? How do you make that work?
Well, from an internal practitioner perspective, the last thing that we want is another product just pitched at us. We don't want to chase after all the shiny pennies. Yeah?
Right.
So from an HPE perspective, we are a huge laboratory. 39 million IP addresses at any given time, 1.5 million devices on our network. So when we look to vet products or things that come our way, we have to see that they fit within our own framework. So we have quite a mature cybersecurity program in and of itself. It needs to accent and add to what we're already doing. At any given time, we have 35 POCs running that are run inside of our technology office from a cybersecurity perspective.
So when you're out here and people are, can you give me a differentiator? Like, what is sort of the philosophy that you look for, and people come to you and say, here's my thing, here's my shiny object, and you say, okay, I don't really want your shiny object. I want to hear this from you. How do you fill in that blank?
I want the how-to.
Yeah.
I want vendors to come to me to say, look, here is the problem that we're solving. Not just, this is what the product can do. Woo, that's wonderful. Wonderful that you have a new product. What does it do? Why should it matter to me? How does it fit within our security stack and in our how-to of our framework? That's really what we're looking for.
And then Anup, you and Nicole, you guys obviously are creating some of these products and working on this sort of thing. What are those sort of cutting-edge things that you're working on now that are, when you're going in to pitch people or you're just in discussions, what big problems are we trying to solve? Sort of what's at that leading edge for you all?
Yeah, I think one of the trends you probably have noticed from RSA this year is machine learning is the new buzzword. And so, to your point, Kirsten, I think that one of the things that's hard is, so a number of vendors are saying they're using machine learning. How do you tell which machine learning products work and how they work? So I think the other thing, though, is why is it that machine learning all of a sudden is the new buzzword? And I think there's a valid reason, and that's that the attack vector has changed. In fact, we actually started detecting very advanced nation-state, artificial intelligence, machine learning-driven algorithms in the attacks, where they were blending into environments and really emulating the behavior of humans. So I think we're going to start to see a real shift in cyber attacks towards machines, and cyber defense is going to have to match it. So I think this is going to be the year of machine versus machine in cyber attack.
So I think it's easy as a technologist and as a security company to talk technology, right? And one thing, when it comes to defending the network, if you think about what is the soft underbelly of the network, it's actually wetware, right? It's humans on the other end of the keyboard, right? And when we talk to our enterprise customers, they say, my biggest weakness is my people, right? Spear phishing is the #1 threat of users clicking on links and opening attachments. So when Invincea says, well, look, we can't train our way out of that problem because of human psychology, you will have users who always click on links and open attachments. So what we say is, hey, we'll at least provide you a secure environment. So when your users click on a link or open an attachment, it's in a secure environment that's protecting that machine and that network. Right. So there's a little bit of a human element to this technology business, and we have to realize humans are fallible, but we can protect the network from human behavior.
So how do we protect against the human element? How do you think about that?
Well, I think that one of the biggest challenges that we face is the culture. In all of our organizations. We work towards that within our cybersecurity program as well. So it's not about just adding another technology or another product, again, to my earlier point. We also have to shift the culture of the way people behave within our environment, right? And that's through awareness, it's through training, it's through using a multiplier effect within our own organization. Because there's never going to be the day when any of us as CISOs and deputy CISOs and the folks who are here spending the money on products have a blank check to deal with this. So we have to create multiplier effects within the business so that folks are acting in a more secure manner adding, multiplying what it is that we're trying to do from an architecture and engineering perspective.
So how does that AI edge play into this? Is that a potential multiplier, or is that something that can help you deal with some of these human issues?
Well, I think one of the things we also hear about is the fact that there is 1 million openings for threat analysts on a global basis. And so the other advantage I think we get through AI or machine learning is, what if that machine learning can actually watch our threat analysts and learn from it, and then actually deploy that to self-defend our networks? So I think that's the other phase that we're looking at, is machine learning can learn from humans and then actually help self-defend and take action.
So one thing we're going to hear about in the next several discussions is sort of this fusion that Anup talked about at the beginning between Washington and Silicon Valley, or just technology and government in general. Right. And one of the biggest developments there recently, obviously, was the Cybersecurity National Action Plan. So the Obama administration laying out a number of things it was going to do to shore up the nation's cybersecurity. One of the things there was a federal CISO that they would be putting in place, and we may hear about very soon. I'm looking over toward our government friends. Maybe we'll hear about it tonight. Do you all think that a federal CISO will make a difference? Do you think that that's an opportunity for the government to up its game and do better in this space?
Start with it.
I think the biggest question is, what type of a CISO are they looking for? Okay. So we're actually directly involved in, and our CISO at HPE is directly involved with helping to craft the role description behind a variety of different federal CISO positions, including Department of the Air Force. And what we're learning is that a lot of this is folks are looking for CISO 1.0. It's traditional IT security. And really, the conversation has changed. It's enterprise risk or mission risk. And the old way of looking at an information security professional position just doesn't apply anymore. We really need to be looking at the integration points. We need to be looking at the shift of the network itself, the endpoint itself, the change that's happened, the incredible tsunami of the threat vectors that come in, right? So I think it's wonderful and it's aspirational. Sure. That we're looking to have that in the federal space, but we need to be looking for the right type of individuals. I mean, we really need to be looking towards a CISO 2.0 who could be really shifting the conversation and the direction towards risk.
Got it.
Yeah, I think another interesting angle, though, is there's a lot we've learned from the intelligence communities. You know, whether that be the U.S. intelligence communities. Our company actually is headquartered in the UK, so we work a lot with the British intelligence. And I think there's really two worlds coming together. One is you have people that came from computer and network security, but you have another group that the government has a lot of expertise in, which is the intelligence community. And the intelligence community has had to battle nation states before, and now we're seeing those nation states attack the corporate networks. So I think that's, the other role is learning from the intelligence community, applying advanced technology, but really stepping up our game and figuring out how to get ahead of the nation-state attacks on the private sector and industrial control systems.
Okay. And I'll just be really brief. Yeah. So I think from a private sector perspective, and we'll hear from our federal officials, but what we're looking for is leadership in the federal sector. We'd like to see leadership from the White House around security for the federal sector, right? And I think if you empower an individual to make decisions and have budget and really fix the federal sector, that in turn, the private sector will take hints from that. So really looking forward to that.
They'll take hints from that, or they'll just stop having to say, well, you guys screwed something up, so we shouldn't listen to you anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me add a little piece to that, though. I think that I would like to see better partnership between the private and the public sector. And I think that the challenge is that we have policymakers with all the best intentions, with a lack of the practical experience, trying to fill that regulatory perspective and are unable to take the sheer volume of what it is that we do from a private sector practitioner perspective and apply that in a regulatory way that makes sense for us to practice and to collaborate together.
And that's a good segue to the rest of the program.
Good segue to the program. Before we let these guys go, do we have any questions from the audience? We have a mic out there. If you've got a question, just pop your hand up. Going once. Going twice. All right, before we let you go, one last question. Work of fiction in cybersecurity that you respect that you love or that you love to hate. That's how our podcast ends every time, and I think it's a good way to throw out a book or a movie or anything that you love or love to hate in this space.
You've got to go with Mr. Robot.
Mr. Robot. Okay, there's a good one.
Love to hate CSI Cyber.
CSI Cyber.
Yeah.
Kirsten?
Oh, wow. I'm going to have to go with yours.
Mr. Robot.
Absolutely,
All right,
Mr. Robot.
Let's give
Thank
you so much for coming, everybody.
Thank
Thank you, Anup. Yeah.